This morning, a big Hollywood star is saying it's time to forgive Mel Gibson, 15 months after we first heard Gibson on tape making those vicious threats against his ex-girlfriend.
What kind of man is that? Hitting a woman when she's holding a child in her hand, breaking her teeth twice in the face. What kind of man is that?
Oh, you're all angry now.
You're gonna get you know what?
Sir.
You're gonna answer. One day, boy, you're gonna answer.
Yeah, I'll put you in a Rose Garden, you. You understand that? Because I'm capable of it. You understand that?
It was the pinnacle of his public downward spiral, which included a July 2006 arrest and infamous anti-Semitic rant to police. Since then, Gibson has been slowly inching back into the public eye. His latest movie, The Beaver, debuted in May in 36th place at the box office. On Friday, the actor presented the American Cinematheque Award to friend Robert Downey Jr., who in turn begged Hollywood to forgive Gibson. Downey addressed the crowd saying, "Unless you're without sin, and if you are, you're in the wrong bleeping industry, you should forgive him and let him work."
Joining us now is Dalton Ross, Assistant Managing Editor of Entertainment Weekly magazine. Good to have you with us this morning.
Thanks, Erica.
How is this playing Monday morning? Those comments from Robert Downey Jr., how are they being received?
Well, I think you got to start with Robert Downey Jr. You can't begrudge someone for asking for forgiveness for his friend. You know, you could look at that as courageous, and he's standing by his friend. You have to look at the history here that Mel Gibson helped out Robert Downey Jr. In 2003, no one would hire him. He was uninsurable, and it was Mel Gibson that put up the insurance bond money so that Robert Downey Jr. could work on The Singing Detective and get his career back on track. So there is a history there.
I think the challenge for Gibson right here is that he's dealing with two separate things he needs to kind of climb back from. There were these vicious threats against his ex-wife, and then also this despicable rant that he went off on police. I mean, which one is more difficult to get over?
It's a double whammy, because you have the anti-Semitic comments that he made, but then you have those tapes, and we just heard it again, and you almost think like Mel Gibson, you forget about him, and then you hear him again, and all of a sudden those feelings sort of go up in you again, and it's difficult. It's absolutely difficult.
So ultimately, you sort of set it up there, but even if someone may be able to forgive in this case, it's very tough to forget.
You know, I think it's a double. There's two things that Mel Gibson has to go over. Robert Downey Jr. was asking Hollywood to forgive. We saw that. But he also now needs audiences to forget, because audiences want to go into a theater. They don't want to worry about personal baggage of a star. They want to be taken away to the character. And then when you're asking them to sort of not think about this stuff, it's difficult.
You don't want them to feel bad about buying a ticket.
Exactly.
You want them to want to spend their money.
That's exactly right.
That said, there does seem to be a little bit of a swell here. Robert Downey Jr. coming to support him. Donald Trump, for what it's worth.
Getting in the mix.
He tweeted saying, "Saw Braveheart this week in plain fantastic movie. Mel Gibson was great. Hopefully he can make a comeback." First of all, that's the first time he saw Braveheart, though?
maybe he means he saw it
busy
again.
man.
I'm guessing he had seen it before.
I certainly hope so.
He's a busy man. I think that, look, I don't think anyone thinks because Robert Downey Jr. said this that Mel Gibson, everything's hunky-dory and he's back in the clear. I think that Mel Gibson's hope is that this helps. Like you said, Jeff, it's another step, and that his ultimate hope is that he will eventually get to a place where he can be director, producer, and star in movies that Hollywood will allow him to make, and audiences will want to go see.
Is there something specific, though, that he needs to do to get to that place, or is it simply waiting it out?
It's a little bit of both. It's waiting it out, it's laying low, and it's being humble. It's being humbled and acting humbled and not having an air of arrogance about you. That's what he really needs.
The most complicated and difficult celebrity rehab you've seen?
It is. It's so many layers to it, and it is difficult, and we're just going to have to see where it goes next. As we know, we are a nation that does like to ultimately forgive. We are forgiving people, and there's a lot to forgive here, and we'll see what happens.
Because he is working in a new movie, by the way, and he's, for what it's worth, wading back into religious waters.
Yeah, he's trying to go with Maccabee here. He's going to the. This is a project that he's had in the line for a while, actually. Believe it or not, this is not a "I'm sorry" project, so to speak. But it's only there's a script that's being penned. It's a very long way from making it to the screen. We'll have to see what happens.
And he may have some competition, too, as I understand it. There's some other folks who are trying to make this movie, or at least trying to bring this story to the big screen.
That's right. There is another project. We've seen this in Hollywood a lot. We got 2 Snow White projects now, so we'll have to see sort of where that all shakes out.
Dalton Ross, thanks very much.
Absolutely, guys.